Good evening and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Well, it's finally out. After a week of political posturing, Republicans finally releasing today the controversial Nunes Memo after it was declassified by President Trump. Democrats are livid. Let's bring in now Lana Zach, join us from D.C.
Good evening. The FBI Agents Association is reacting to the news. They say that they have not and will not allow partisan politics to take away from their sacred mission. They had implored the president not to release this memo.
It was declassified, and let's see what happens. But a lot of people should be ashamed.
President Trump, against the recommendation of his own FBI director, declassified a controversial memo written by Republican members of the House Intelligence Committee. The memo posted this afternoon is critical of Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and others for their roles in renewing a surveillance warrant on former Trump campaign aide Carter Page. At its crux, the memo argues that the FBI and Department of Justice used information from Christopher Steele's unsubstantiated dossier to renew their FISA surveillance warrant against Page without disclosing that the dossier was paid for in part by the Clinton campaign.
This dossier was the foundational basis for spying on American citizens.
Democrats in the committee have charged that the memo cherry-picks facts and critiques the chair, Devin Nunes, a Trump ally, for releasing misleading allegations, calling it a shameful effort to discredit these institutions, undermine the special counsel's ongoing investigation, and undercut congressional probes. And former FBI Director James Comey tweets, "That's it? Dishonest and misleading memo wrecked the House Intel Committee, destroyed trust with intelligence community, damaged relationship with FISA court, and inexcusably exposed classified investigation of an American citizen. For what? DOJ and FBI must keep doing their jobs." Critics charge that this is all an effort to compromise the special counsel Robert Mueller and the one man who could fire him, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. The president was asked if the memo makes him more likely to fire Rosenstein.
You figure that one out.
And the top Democrat on the committee, Congressman Adam Schiff, says that this all tells a political story to help the president. Already we're hearing from Democrats a warning to President Trump that if he tries to use this memo to fire either Rod Rosenstein or special counsel Robert Mueller, that it would be tantamount to an obstruction of justice, they say. Reporting live from Washington, Lana Zach, ABC News. Back to you.
Thank you, Lana. Tonight, I come to you on what has been, I believe, a very sad day for the state of our union. I have learned in the past year, as many of you have, I'm sure, to modulate what classifies as shocking anymore, as the bizarre has supplanted the norm. Today, however, the rule of law and the reliable comfort that we rise to a democratic structure has been tested, if not even throttled. February 2nd, 2018. It's a date that I think we should and will remember. Today, whatever shred of bipartisanship that customarily exists when dealing with national security, officially, it went into a coma. Today, the president, he telegraphed, he has pushed in all his chips, and I believe it will result in him making a move on Rod Rosenstein first, the man overseeing the Russia probe, with the end game of shutting down Mueller altogether. Now, these things happen in Russia. They do not happen here. As contemptuous as Donald Trump may be, to become an autocrat in America, our checks and balances, they have to be subverted. And to do that, false patriots, they have to be complicit. So, let's state the premise. If you believe this report, the partisan, unsubstantiated conspiracy theory trotted report that came out with Devin Nunes at the head of it, if you believe it to be true, Rob Ray, the Trump-appointed FBI director, Ron Rosenstein, the Trump-appointed Deputy Attorney General, and Jim Comey, the man that Hillary blames to this day for costing her the presidency, all three of these men had to all conspire to defraud a federal FISA court judge, all for the explicit purpose of getting Donald Trump. Now, this InfoWars alleged cabal, it became congressionally sanctioned because, I believe, of enablers. And I want to start with Congressman Devin Nunes, the one-time Trump transition executive. Get your head around that. He became the disgraced stooge who was removed as chair of the House Intelligence Committee because he was being fed and coached to spin false theories by the very White House he was tasked to investigate. Even more amazing, if that's possible, than the obscene conflict of interest was that this hack has somehow been permitted to reassume authority and reportedly once again, for the second time, conferred with the White House before he released this piece of propaganda masked as a report. Now, while he might as well have been on the payroll for Trump, he's also gutless, refusing to release the minority report, which is customary. He also reportedly altered the document 5 times after the committee even voted on it. He is compromised, he is unethical, and he is unprincipled. But he would never be a name we would be talking about tonight if the Speaker had done his job. Paul Ryan. I got to admit, he is not the man I thought I knew. Forget that I disagree with him on almost everything policy-wise. I always considered him to put country first. During the campaign, you may remember, he made it clear Trump was a man he could not abide for his absence of morality and for policy reliability. It's a pathetic reality how a single election a year ago can corrupt a conscience. Paul Ryan could have enforced that Nunes stay out of the committee chairmanship. Paul Ryan, he could have upheld tradition and released both parties' memos simultaneously. Paul Ryan, he could have shown a shred of courage. He also could drop the naivete or BS when he says the following.
What this is not is an indictment on our institutions, of our justice system. This memo is not an indictment of the FBI, of the Department of Justice. It does not impugn the Mueller investigation or the Deputy Attorney General. What I'm trying to say is people should not draw lines. People should not implicate. Well, that's what I'm suggesting. People should not be drawing lines. People should not be implicating independent issues. This does not implicate the Mueller investigation. This does not implicate the DAG. This is about us holding the system accountable.
You know, I don't know what's worse, if he actually believes what he just said there or he's spinning us. Either way, though, I suggest if he has any doubt what this is about, he takes the cue from the guy that he's capitulating to, and he's sacrificing his own reputation, by the way, to protect. Here is Trump's tweet making it clear that this memo is all about, surprise, surprise, Russia. Quote, the top leadership and investigators of the FBI and the Justice Department have politicized the sacred investigation process in favor of Democrats and against Republicans, something which would have been unthinkable just a short time ago. He goes on to directly say that this compromises the Mueller investigation. Now, if Mr. Ryan really believes the Deputy Attorney General should have nothing to worry about, he obviously is not on the same page with Donald. When asked if Rosenstein's job could be in jeopardy today, and again, remember, Ryan said it has nothing to do with Rosenstein or whatever else, Donald Trump said this.
More likely to hire Rosenstein? Do you still have confidence in him after reading the memo?
You figure that one out.
Okay. So as we enter McCarthy-esque chapter here in American history, let me add one more complicit actor, Fox News. Now, I know fair and balanced is a punchline not even its employees believe. Yet, news is part of its title, and abetting Trump's worst impulses is not only journalistically disgraceful, it goes even further. Sean Hannity reportedly is counsel that the president relies on when it comes to matters of national security more than the FBI director. Hey, I'm a big boy. We all want ratings. But the question is, at what cost? Tonight, I find GOP patriots in short supply. But at least one voice reemerged to say that we need to put country before party. I'm talking, of course, about John McCain. Quote, the latest attacks on the FBI and Department of Justice serve no American interests, no parties, no presidents, only Putin's. The American people deserve to know all of the facts surrounding Russia's ongoing efforts to subvert our democracy, which is why Special Counsel Mueller's investigation must proceed unimpeded. Let's hope more voices emerge on the right like his own, but as I speak, their cowardly silence is disheartening, but sadly, it is becoming expected. Okay, so obviously you get it. I think what happened today and led up to today is not only terrible for the rule of law, but I also think it speaks to norms that we've always counted on here and the checks and balances falling apart. But what I want us to think about here is, think about for a minute, what if this were on the other foot? And this wider attack here, as we're talking about this memo, as it relates on anyone or anything that could hurt the president when it's concerned here. Take your own politics or who you voted for, take it completely out of the equation. So I want you to think about the following: Republican, Democrat, Green Party, I don't care. Or what partisans in Washington are saying or sway how you view this. Again, move this all to the side. Just think, with what we went through, what would you think about this Protect Trump campaign then? Now, I asked Andrew to alter history for a moment, but not the facts, but just some of the players for a thought experiment. And Andrew, if we can't ask the audience to suspend disbelief, it's like that one of the Grisham movies here where Matthew McConaughey asks everybody to close their eyes and then he changes the color of the victim. Well, in this case, let's change the players and let's imagine what would happen.
Yeah, everybody's very dug into their own little partisan circles, Rich, and it's difficult, if not impossible, to remove those partisan blinders to analyze what is at its core an entirely partisan effort that is the Nunes Memo. But for a moment, consider that we're not talking about the actions of President Trump, but rather, let's say we're talking about President Barack Obama instead. Just bear with me. What if the Obama campaign had repeated undisclosed contacts with hostile foreign governments? And then what if those contacts had prompted an FBI investigation into Obama and his campaign? What if, as President Obama had pressured his FBI director during an investigation for loyalty? If Obama then asked that FBI director to drop parts of the investigation, and when that failed, if Barack Obama then fired the aforementioned FBI director? What if after that firing, President Obama told both a top reporter and top officials with the hostile foreign government that he and his campaign had had contacts with that he fired the FBI director because of the investigation into those contacts? What if, given everything else, Obama had pressured officials to either fire or influence his attorney general, the acting FBI director, the special counsel investigating him, the deputy attorney general overseeing that special counsel, the new FBI director that he had appointed, and the heads of several intelligence agencies, all over an investigation of which Obama was the subject? And what if a congressman who was also an Obama transition team head wrote a highly disputed memo that benefited Obama while also preventing the release of criticisms of that memo from Republicans, from the Justice Department, and from the FBI? What would the conservative reaction from right-wing media and elected Republicans be? Would they say this was all about seeking justice and preventing abuses? Or would they already be calling for impeachment and jail time, Rich?
And imagine if through all of it, Obama didn't release his tax returns. Obama decided to still profit from his office with a hotel down the street. Imagine all the things that would have also preceded this question both his motive and also, frankly, country before party. Imagine if all those things happened. What would Sean Hannity say at 8 o'clock tonight?
I can't even begin to guess at that, because Obama wearing a tan suit was a scandal for 4 days. Questions about the health food campaign that his wife started was as an issue that popped up. I mean, there were so many mini scandals that were nothing throughout the entire Obama administration.
And imagine there comes out a report that days or months after Michelle Obama delivered their daughter, he's paying hush money off to a porn star and all. Just the hypocrisy, which is so maddening to me, about what we're hearing in certain windows, and then Congress people who know better, every intelligence report on anything important, they always release the reports together, or they try and have a bipartisan report that they do. And and then you read McCain's words. We only showed you a few of them, but if you read through everything that he said, where we're going as a country, I ask you this: will McCain be the outlier, or do you think, and I can name at least a half a dozen Republican senators that I could see join him, that there will be a drumbeat leading to the Democratic response to say this is a bridge too far?
I don't think there will be a lot of Republicans following McCain's lead unless it hurts Republicans at the polls, and I mean through elections. And between now and November, I don't think you're going to see a lot of Republicans get behind that.
Politically, do you think at the end of the day they will regret this. I'm not talking morally, I'm not talking love of country, constitutionally, or anything else. I'm saying politically. Do you believe, because we know there'll be a Democratic response, it already has been meeting very tepid returns right now, where people are saying this is it. Do you believe that there will be a price to be paid for this, and even a stealing of the spine from some in the FBI itself?
I think there will be in the elections that come this November, and who knows what happens if Trump decides to put a move on Rosenstein or Mueller.
And I think that will happen. We shall see, though. I hope I'm wrong. Coming up next, former federal prosecutor Roland Riopel is here. A closer look at what this means for the Mueller probe as well as the president.